How in the heck is it going, everybody? Hope you are all having a great day. Super jacked about this video. We're only 2 weeks into the early goose season, and well, we've been hunting our butts off, scouting our butts off, probably put 2,000 miles on the trucks so far in these 2 weeks, and finally starting to pay off. I think last year by this point in time, we already had 3 or 4 goose hunting videos out, and unfortunately, so far for this season, it is our first video. But we're kind of changing it up. We're trying to get away from hunting geese early season on water to hunting them into the fields, which is something that we do not have very much experience with. So it's still definitely a learning curve, but I'll be jumping in and out of this video to kind of give you guys a little bit of info on what is going on. But without any further ado, here's the video.
Try to get in these trees. We just have to come out of the woods.
Where are they at? Right over here?
They're right on the corner.
The corner of those other trees?
There's a bunch in the middle, and there's a bunch right around on the backside of this clump.
Do we want to try to walk through and get to that?
Yeah, there's no way we're gonna get them unless they fly closer. There's gotta be like 25 or 30 like right here.
Alrighty, well, I have to give you guys a little bit of background as to how we got to the point we're at right now. Our scouting mission started in northern central Upper Peninsula, right on the coast of Lake Superior. We're looking at some fields that we hadn't looked at before. Map said that they were state land. All around the field said no trespassing, prison property. Birds were just dumping into these fields, so we had no idea how to figure out how to get permission or who to even talk to. So we're still in the process of that. Came across a farmer, great guy, gave us permission to, I think, 3 or 4 of his fields in the area we were in. Told us he had another field on the southern central UP on the northern coast of Lake Michigan, like 60 miles south where we're at, where he, I guess it was just loaded with birds. He had a neighbor with a big pond full of geese. Neighbor hates the geese, according to this guy. So we go down there, look at the pond, look at the fields, couldn't really see the pond, thought we might have seen some geese in the back. Go talk to the landowner of the pond, and pretty much told me to go screw myself, essentially, in the nicest way that a 70-year-old woman can tell me to go F off. But so then we went back west to the area that we have been looking at for quite a while. Have been seeing birds in the area. Hadn't been seeing them for like a week or so, but they were there. I mean, the best area we've seen so far. I had permission to one field, looked at that, didn't see anything. Looked at the field next door, which had a little, real small pond in the back corner of it, and 200, 250, 300 geese. Bunch of mallards. We couldn't tell that there were mallards in there from the road, though. Just knew there were a bunch of geese back there. So now we're sitting there wondering, how we're going to get to them. We had permission of the field next door. They were like 100 yards into the neighboring property, though, where that pond was. So went and knocked on the door of the landowner of that property. And like I said in, I think, the last video, but we will do a video here soon on how we have been getting permit. Other than I've had one person tell me to screw off out of like the 10 farmers we've talked to. And so our little approach to getting permission to hunt fields is pretty effective. But got permission to that one, drove into it. The road only went back like halfway to the cow pasture, which was super muddy, super nasty, and we only have a 2-wheel drive truck. So we only made it like quarter to halfway into that field, just to where we could just see the geese. You can see them pretty good through the binoculars. And then we're sitting there scratching our heads because we're about a quarter mile away from where these geese are, and there is nothing but maybe 4 blades of grass in between us and where the geese are to hide. I mean, no low spots, no hills, nothing. Flat field to where these geese are. So then, as I'm getting a phone call. So then, realized that if we could come in from the neighbor's property that we already had permission to, then we could probably sneak up. As you see, we kind of came out of the woods, and that little clump of woods that you see on the other side, the pond was right on the other side of that, and all the geese were kind of on the backside of that pond. So might as well get right back into the rest of the action.
It's good to be out, really.
side of this pond. And they're all up on that hill, like 50 yards out. We're just gonna have to poke through right here, dude. They fly towards us. If you can get up to that pond, you can have a plug in front.
I'll get up here. Oh yeah. I think we just go straight through and see what happens.
If you want to go, I'm gonna go to the right.
Okay.
I got a really good shot at these ones, but
There's definitely mallards in there too.
those ones right there are close. If we could just get up here without them seeing them, we might just be able to sit and wait for them.
Maybe just try to creep up here a little bit further.
Do you think we can poke them from the other side of this pond?
From this side of the pond? What's that?
We'd have to go on this right side if you want to go around.
Yeah.
You could poke them with a good shot.
Let's just try to sneak up to these cattails and we'll sit and wait for a second.
You gotta get
Well, right here is where, as you can tell by the sound effect, our plan went straight down the toilet. Didn't really have a plan to begin with. We wanted to hunt this spot. Like I said earlier, we have virtually no experience in field hunting. We do know that when you're hunting a field, you want to be where the birds want to be. Obviously, that's pretty self-explanatory. But our dilemma that we ran into is the birds beat us to where we both wanted to be. We had 4 more guys on the way. We called up the boys as soon as we found birds. Had them drive an hour, hour and a half to get here. So we had to get something together soon. Had all the gear in the truck ready to go. So our plan was to, as you can tell, sneak up on them and spook them out there, maybe shoot a couple and set up, and then hope to God that they come back. So might as well see what happens.
Look at all those mallards. Well, there's mallards in here too.
mallards do the thing they're doing it.
See? They're gonna come right, they'll come right back into it, I guarantee it almost.
Start slowly walking up and see how long it takes.
I guess so. That's really the only option that I can think of. Oh my god, what do we do? Huh. No way in heck we were putting a sneak on those. Too many eyes. They're going right down in the basin, I bet.
Basin's that way.
Is it?
Keep going the other way.
Oh my
God,
god.
dude, that's another 100. Look at all the mallards with them.
Unreal.
Well, part of our plan was successful. We were able to scare the birds off of where they were at. And I guess to try and be optimistic, we didn't scare them as bad because we didn't get a shot at them. And so we went back to the truck, drove out, picked up the buddies, came back in, carried all the gear in, which, I mean, it wasn't, we had to cross some really swampy cruddy cow pie filled little cricks in this cow pasture that we were in. But aside from that, I mean, well, at least me and Alistair were smart. We had muck boots. I don't think anybody else had muck boots. Let's go walk through a swampy field with no boots, they said. It'll be fun, they said. But, so we got set up and was super stoked because as soon as we started deciding we were going to shoot fields, scouted, got permission to a couple that had a ton of birds in them, came home, impulse, spent almost like $1,000 on decoys in one sitting, which in the grand scheme of things really isn't that much. But for somebody that doesn't have that much money, that was one heck of an impulse buy. And I was just chomping at the bit to get the decoys in the field. I think we had 2 dozen goose shells that we got donated. I ordered a dozen Canada Goose solo socks, which are sweet. Definitely the cheapest, lightest way to go with the decoys. And they got a little ridge in the back of them too, so there's no wind. They don't just fall over like the cheaper socks. So they're actually pretty nice. Probably can order some more of those. And then ordered a dozen Hidgen, what I understood was full-size Canada Goose field decoys. I guess they were full-size lesser geese decoys. So when I bought the full-size half dozen slot bag, let's just, needless to say, I can put a dozen decoys in a 6-slot bag. So it's not too bad, I guess. Got the decoys in the field, got the layout blinds camoed up. What kind of hurt us was we had 6 guys, only 3 layout blinds, so that kind of limited where we could hide. Might as well just roll right into the rest of this shenanigans.
Bama.
I'm finding.
Where did I put that freaking call? Oh, I got one. I'll give him a honk real quick. I'm not a fan of this call. Where are they at?
They were a long ways away, but they were coming.
Are they behind us?
Yeah.
Good, good. They sound like they're getting closer.
Another flock above the trees behind us.
Oh my gosh, boys.
Are they doing it? No.
You say no?
Well, in conclusion to this rather crusty video, we saw birds. Birds flew back. If I could have done anything differently, and if we all had layout blinds, we would have probably set up either probably right on the lip, the back lip of that hill that you could kind of see on the other side. Probably would have had to scare some cows out of the way. There's about 100 cows that you couldn't see over on the other side of that rise. But unfortunately, I mean, it was like a manicured golf course almost. There was almost no cover in there. So to have somebody try and lay down on the ground with no blind and hide would not have been very successful. And the funny thing is, we see all these geese in this field that we don't, next to the field that we have permission in. So we get permission to that, go scare them up, go set up in that field, and all of the geese that we scared up, and they flew back, and they all went into the original field that we had permission to in an area that would have been way easier to hide. Yep. So that was what we figured out. We're gonna go hunt that field tomorrow. So hopefully it'll pan out. I mean, the farmer for that field's been saying he's been seeing them for the last like 4 or 5 days. When we were driving out of that field, I mean, there was probably every bit of 200, 300 geese that we scared up, on top of the probably 40, 50 deer that we jumped out of the field. So that was kind of neat as well. But unfortunately did not fire a shot in the gun. 2 weeks into waterfall season, though, I had to make a video. So I apologize if you guys completely hated this video, but I was starting to get a little twitchy on not being able to make a waterfall video. But we're hitting her hard. We're getting that windshield time in. We're getting that field time in. Hopefully, put some honkers on the board ground, whatever you want to say, board ground, before our actual duck season opens up September 29th, and then it's going to be mostly probably going to hunt the opening day on the water, and then kind of see how that goes. We've been seeing the couple times we goose hunted the water. I mean, mallards are everywhere, and they're doing it right into goose decoys, so that's kind of sweet. That doesn't go well. We do have a couple of fields with ponds that we've been seeing mallards. So we're going to try to kill them. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support. We know you all already have, but if you haven't hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you're feeling. Leave a comment. We love talking with you guys. And until next time, thank you for your support and happy adventures.